At Thanksgiving, my wife's dad announced, "We're selling the family business. You're getting nothing." After 5 years of saving the company from bankruptcy, my wife's sisters actually cheered. I smiled and asked, "Who's the buyer?" He proudly said, "Summit Enterprises. They're paying $40 million." I laughed. I am Summit Enterprises. The room went silent. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and everyone's already decided you don't belong? Yeah. That's been my life for the past 5 years at the Hollister estate. Every Thanksgiving, it's the same song and dance. The mahogany dining table, the crystal glasses, and the family that treats me like I'm just some charity case their precious Claire dragged home. I'm sitting there in my best suit, not designer, just something from Men's Warehouse, watching my father-in-law, Douglas Hollister, do his power play routine. The guy stands like he owns everything in the room, including me. And honestly, until today, he wasn't wrong. Douglas is carving the turkey like he's performing surgery. Each slice is deliberate and controlled, classic move, making everyone wait while he shows off his knife skills. He's 72 and still needs to prove he's the alpha dog at every family gathering. Claire's hand finds mine under the table. I can feel her tension. She knows something's coming. Harper and Camille, Claire's sisters, are practically vibrating in their seats. Harper looks like she smells money. Camille's fidgeting with her bracelet, the one that probably costs more than I made in my first month at the finance firm. Before we eat, Douglas sets down the knife. "I have an announcement," he says. "Here we go." I lean back, keep my face neutral. Sometimes the best power move is looking bored while everyone else loses their minds. "We're selling Hollister Construction," he says, puffing out his chest. $40 million. The reaction is immediate. Harper actually claps. Camille lets out a squeal. Even the staff start whispering. But Claire goes absolutely still beside me. Her hand in mine turns to ice. Douglas waits for the excitement to die down. Then he looks right at me. "You're getting nothing," he says. His voice carries that venom he reserves for people he thinks are beneath him. The silence is deafening. Harper and Camille stare, waiting for me to break down or beg. But here's the thing about being underestimated. You get really good at keeping your cards close. So instead, I just smile. "Who's the buyer?" I ask, calm, as if I'm just asking about the weather. Douglas straightens up even more. "Summit Enterprises," he announces. That's when I lose it, not in anger, but with a laugh, low and steady. The whole room freezes. "I am Summit Enterprises," I say, my voice cutting through the silence. Everything changes. Harper's mouth falls open. Camille almost drops her wine glass. Claire's grip on my hand tightens, not from nerves this time, but from pride. Douglas's smug confidence just evaporates. For the first time, Douglas Hollister has no idea what to say. The silence stretches, heavy and loaded. You ever feel like you're living in one of those horror movies where the ghost's been there all along, but nobody sees him until the big reveal? That's been my existence at every Hollister family gathering. The guy they introduce as Claire's husband, with a little pause like they're hoping it's temporary. The one who sits at the end of the table watching them talk around me like I'm a piece of furniture. But here's what they never figured out. Furniture has ears. While Harper was complaining about shopping and Camille was gossiping, I was listening to Douglas. Every phone call, every worried glance, every late night with bills piling up. These people treated me like I was invisible. That turned out to be their biggest mistake. I wasn't just some finance guy Claire picked up at a coffee shop. I'd spent 10 years in mergers and acquisitions before I met her. I could read a company's health from across the room. Douglas was carrying himself like a man with serious problems. About 3 years ago, he started getting phone calls during dinner, coming back looking 5 years older. I noticed the holiday bonuses getting smaller, then disappearing. I noticed when he started taking late-night calls from lawyers. The real Wake-up call came at Easter dinner 2 years ago. Douglas got a call right in the middle of dessert. Payroll crisis. After everyone left, I found him in his study, head in his hands, staring at a stack of bills. That's when I made my move. Not as Claire's husband, but as a businessman who saw an opportunity. I'd quietly built Summit Enterprises as a side project, identifying struggling companies and either acquiring them or providing strategic consulting. Douglas was drowning and too proud to ask for help, but a silent partner through proper legal channels, that his ego could handle. My lawyers reached out to his. Summit Enterprises was interested in making a private investment in Hollister Construction. No ownership, no voting rights, just a substantial cash infusion. He never asked who was behind. Summit. All he cared about was that the money was real and the terms were fair. For 2 years, I was the ghost keeping his company alive. Every family dinner since then was pure torture. Listening to Douglas take credit for the turnaround, watching Harper and Camille plan their spending sprees, enduring their little digs about my cute finance job, while I was literally the reason their trust funds weren't worthless paper. Claire knew something was up. Of course she did. You can't hide strategic maneuvering from your wife. But she understood why I kept quiet. The hardest part wasn't the secrecy. It was watching Douglas struggle with his pride. I needed him desperate enough to sell, grateful enough to accept a fair offer, and oblivious enough not to ask who was buying. Every Mr. Spreadsheet joke, every time they talked, business over my head, I filed it away. Not for revenge, but for motivation. They saw a number cruncher. I saw myself building an empire. The silence after my revelation stretches on. Douglas's face is ashen. Harper looks completely lost. Camille starts laughing, full-blown cackling. Summit Enterprises, right? Next, you'll tell us you're Batman. Poor Camille. She can't believe the guy in a department store suit could own anything more than a gym membership. But Claire knows I'm dead serious. She stands up. He's telling the truth, she says. I've known for weeks. The laughter stops. Camille's face goes from amused to panic. Harper looks like she's been slapped. Douglas whispers, "That's impossible." I lean back, finally enjoying this moment. 5 years of condescension, 5 years of being treated like furniture, all leading to this. Actually, Douglas, it's not just possible. It's documented, I say, pulling out my phone. Would you like to see the incorporation papers, the bank statements, the due diligence reports? His face pales even more. I've reviewed every line of your books, Douglas. Summit Enterprises offered you full market value. Hell, probably more than market value. Because we believed in the people who do the work, not just the name on the building. You tricked me, he mutters. No, I say, steel in my voice. I gave you exactly what you asked for. A buyer with deep pockets. A commitment to keeping the company operational. A clean exit with your reputation intact. The room falls silent again, but this time it's different. This is the quiet when everyone finally understands what just happened. You know what's funny about people? They show you who they really are in moments of crisis. Harper finally speaks up. Wait, if you're Summit Enterprises and Summit bought the company, we're not getting a cut of the sale? Straight to the money. Camille snaps. We're family. We should get something out of this. Douglas turns to them. You're not getting anything, he says. Neither of you lifted a finger to help this company. Neither of you bothered to learn what the company actually does. They try to protest, but I cut in. You cheered when you thought I'd get nothing. You laughed when Douglas announced I was getting cut out. But you had no idea I was the one who flew to Houston for the Timberlake deal. The deal that's kept this company afloat for 18 months. The looks on their faces are priceless. You didn't know I restructured the insurance, or that I made sure your father's workers got paid on time. You called me Mr. Spreadsheet, but those spreadsheets are the only thing standing between your trust funds and bankruptcy court. Douglas clears his throat, his voice tired. Your husband, Your brother-in-law just saved our family's legacy. He could have let the company fail. Instead, he paid full value and kept the Hollister name on every building. And you're first. Question is, what are you getting out of it? The days after that Thanksgiving felt like the aftermath of a controlled demolition. Word spread fast. My phone buzzed non-stop from people relieved to hear the company wasn't just stable, but expanding. My first stop was the Riverside Project site. Tommy Rodriguez, the foreman, expected the worst, but I told him, I didn't buy you out to tear anything down. I bought in to build something better. I promoted Tommy to regional manager. Sarah Chun, who'd been running the commercial division, became my right hand. We focused on the people who held the company together while everyone else was lost in drama. Claire stepped up too. She wanted to start a mentorship program for women in construction, real trades, not just office jobs. She partnered with community, colleges, created apprenticeships, and committed to hiring quotas that were more than just theater. Watching her, I realized she wanted to build something real, too. Even Douglas came around. He showed up at my office one day, dropped off a letter. In it, he wrote, "You were right about everything. I spent 5 years